بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا، وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. أسأل الله تبارك وتعالى أن يجعل نياتنا خالصة لوجهه الكريم. I praise Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. I thank Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala for the blessing of Al-Islam. I ask Allah to send countless blessings and salutations on Sayyiduna Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, his family, his companions, and all those who follow them in excellence into the day of judgment. And I ask Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala to grant us sincere and noble intentions. Insha'Allah ta'ala, I want to take this scattered thoughts today and reflect on some things from last night's Black Imams Roundtable. Usually the morning after, my thoughts are much clearer and I start to think of things that I wish I would have said, but I didn't have it in mind, or it just wasn't there at the moment. Because I think the Black Imams Roundtable is a beautiful platform for us to build, right? And one of the things that I'm noticing from the Black Imams Roundtable about us as a people, as brothers and sisters, that I notice all of us want to establish a strong Islamic family. I watch so many of you put 3453 after Assalamu alaikum, or you'll greet everybody, and I hear my family, my 3453 family, that tells me something about us. That we're in the mode to make a change. I see it in us. And Imam Naeem mentioned a verse of the Quran yesterday. Where Allah says, Inna Allah la yughayyiru bi qawmin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. Right? That Allah doesn't change the condition of the people until they change what is in themselves. And when you read the explanation of this verse by the scholars, it goes both ways. In one way, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us with preparation and readiness for Islam. So we're in a good state in the beginning. But if we waver in our creed, in our practice, then our condition will change to bad. And likewise, if you're in a bad condition, when you start to move towards positivity and obedience to Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala, your condition will change. And I think that's important, that all of us need to make a change that entails serious commitment. You have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. You know, we talk about family. Yesterday, I had the project, and our community had the project of removing roughly 2 to 5 inches of snow that covered our roof. Some spots were higher than others, so between 2 and 5 inches. And our building is a little over 10,000 square feet. That's Masjid Muhammad. So it's a block long and maybe a quarter somewhere of the block, or a little less than that. So in length, 1 block, and maybe a quarter of a block, a little less in width. Huge space, right? And when I went on that roof earlier, before, I was like the first one there. And I looked out. And I did a video, if you watched yesterday, I did a video when I first went up there, messing with the maintenance crew. That's what I was really doing, to be honest. But my brother, he's not a Muslim, and this is significant to me. He saw me on the roof, and he immediately went to his neighbor, got his neighbor's teenage son, and he lives a few cities, 20 minutes, 25 minutes away from the masjid. And I was on the roof, he called me. I'm like, yo, what's up? He said, I'm on my way. I'm coming to help. I'm like, I'm getting ready to come down. I'm getting ready to come down. Nah, don't do that. He said, no, I got some help. I'm on my way. And he came with 2 shovels, ready to dig at the masjid. I didn't ask him. I didn't request anything from him. But he's my family. That's my point. So as a family member, he knows he has a responsibility to aid the members of the family, no matter what it is. It's not his masjid, right? In terms of, he doesn't attend like regularly. He always supports, so I guess maybe he's counted, right? But, and he stayed from start to finish. And what I noticed, as other brothers came, it was as if they like, oh, Ray's up on the roof. As if he belonged there. And he's embraced as a part of our family, an extended part of our family, because of his commitment. It's like, if Amin is there, you can count him going to be somewhere around. Count on it. They've always been like that. They're family. If you see him and he's in need, you can count on him. And if you see him, you can count on him. That type of relationship. And the funny thing about that is it's second nature. No one has to ask. No one has to, like, if you're in need, I'm there. You ain't got to think about it. That's how we have to become with our institutions, right? And I mentioned that we as Muslims got to be the first ones that to be on deck with our own stuff, with our own endeavors, with our own, uh, projects, right? We got to be the first ones online. So when I'm thinking about building as a community, we got to be committed to what we're trying to build. And the first thing we need to build is sustainable communities supported by strong families and community members. Number one, after the religious part, we all know that we Muslims, so put that aside for a minute. I'm talking about actually building something. We need committed people, especially families, to maintain and develop sustainable institutions. The masjid or the group, the community, has to have a priority in our lives, right? Each and every one of us have to have it that our institutions, whatever we built, so we built this 3-4-5-3 family, it must be sustained. Everyone got to think like that. And each one of us cannot look at what the other is doing to determine what we do, right? In other words, when my brother came, he wasn't saying, oh man, where your people at? He wasn't concerned about that. He was like, this is my part. And then when the others came, like brother Abdul Rashid, brother Rashid, and the young brother Joe, and Ibn Dawood, and Saeed, and Sheikh Abdul Aziz, when they came, they just added to that effort, right? And each of them was saying, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. This is what I add. And I add to the job is complete, right? That's how we all got to be, right? And none of them was looking for anything but to say, I'm doing my part lillahi ta'ala. I'm doing my part for the sake of Allah. We got to make this thing work, right? So that's one thing. In terms of building things, we need to know each other's skill sets and what we're good at, right? Not everybody is good at everything. So in our family, we need to know who is good with what. And that takes getting to know one another better and talking to each other and communicating with each other. And I suggest women with women and men with men. This is very important because of another thing I'm going to talk about. All of the 3 imams have wives, and their wives actively help in the work they do. So for sisters, you can easily reach out to those sisters. They will talk to you. They have classes together. They study together. They learn in Arabic together. They're reviewing together. So you should join that effort. I'm talking about the women. And the brothers, we need a lot of improvement. But we should start our own meetings where we come together outside of the round table and discuss our skill sets, our interests, our expertise, and start to use that for the whole and not for our individual selves only. Right? And see what we have within our own circle to build. Right? You know, so you have, for instance, tradespeople, people who have a skill. I have this skill. I can teach people how to do this in your area. Even if I can't do it, I can show you how. I know this business. I live in Michigan, Texas, Florida, wherever, just for example. And I'm doing this and I'm successful at this in Florida. I can show you how to do that in Pennsylvania or in New York or in Jersey. Right? Because we need to empower one another to be successful so that we can build our institutions. It's important, but if you're not connected, if you only come together and once a week and listen, and it's a good thing, and enjoy yourself and make a small donation or a big donation, but if you're really trying to build, you got to think long term. And you got to be one hand. You got to be one hand. Right? You got to start saying, listen, man, we down, we together. And being together is going to entail sacrifice. You have to be willing to sacrifice. Sometimes with your money, sometimes with your own self, sometimes with your intellectual abilities. There's going to be different ways, right, by which you build. So that's from that side. And we always talk about what we're going to do. So I thought, what can I do? I have a lot of skill sets myself, and I offer them, but I have some that they're just dormant, and all we got to do is put people on that project, because as an individual, I can't do but so much myself, but you could do it. I could tell you how to make this successful. I know how it works. You just need physical people to do the work. And when we start networking like that, and we're committed to a common cause, you're going to find success. A lot of us, excuse this if some people don't like this analogy, but for Black men, right, I want you to think of something, especially everybody all was the man in the streets. Good. Glad you was the man in the streets. Boy, back in Jahiliyyah, you don't know. All right, good. Let's talk about Jahiliyyah for a minute. Some of us in Jahiliyyah were very innovative when it came to making money. We all had our way of bringing in some bread. It differed from different people, right? But one thing is common in all of that. There were certain skill sets you needed to do your hustle, whatever it was. You had a skill set. And that skill set that you had that allowed you to do all the stuff you was doing and make all the money you was making, that skill set is transferable to positive things, to business, because you're doing business. So yesterday, Imam Fahim, Imam of the Boom Bap, he was talking about in the past, and he was talking about if you was out and you ain't was like not having the 4.5, man, you go sit down, you ain't talking, right? And I was laughing when I thought about that, right? Because it went past me when he first said it. I didn't know what he was talking about at first. But my dunya kicked in quick. I was like, oh, I just had to reduce the math, right? Hey, Imam, I had to reduce the math. It was I had to break that down to catch on, right? Had to do a lot of subtraction. But I realized that we were young men doing that. And I remember one of my partners, he said to me, he said, you know what it takes to be a criminal in the crime type of stuff we're talking about? He said, you got to avoid the police. You got to avoid the stick-up boys. You got to make sure you don't get taken by the connect. You got to organize your crew. You got to do accounting. You got to foresee your business growth. All that if you're talking about really making money. And every guy you see out there who's serious, that's what they're doing. They're running a business. All of them know how to run a business. Some better than others, but all of them know how to run a business. Now, the product is different, but you know how to market, you know how to advertise, you know how to sell, you know how to do all that. Now, convert those same skills that made you successful in doing that and transfer it to something positive. So inventory project management. No, this is true. So don't say we can't do it. We can. We've done it all our lives. A lot of us, right? We've done it. So that's a thought I have. And that's something that we talked about. If we're checking on each other, if we're calling on with each other, we're going to develop a relationship, because really the issue is trust with a lot of us. The issue is trust, right? That's the issue. Can I trust you? You got to get to know us. We got to get to know one another. Like, you got to get to know one another. That's the only way you're going to trust. Yesterday, we had a discussion after the roundtable, and I won't go into details, but the end of that discussion, you know what that discussion was? Imam Naeem and Imam Fahim saying, Imam Amin, we trust you, which meant a lot to me, right? Because if we trust one another, we're going to grow. Right? I never saw a group of people like these imams. Seriously. These dudes is incredible. Right? Imam Naeem and Imam Fahim, they some stand-up dudes, man. Really. Like, when I really think about it, because you know us, we ain't big on the trust joint, right? We can sometimes be real selfish. They believe in what we're doing, right? So that's 3. And we've been rolling. And we're growing. And we brought people from all over the world, all over the country, together and cooperating with each other. And we are building. Every single week we grow. And we want to thank you for that. Every week we grow. We always hit our mark. Think about that. It's small in terms of what we would have the intention to do. But if you do that every week, you reach your objective, and sometimes above, every single week. If you do that for the next 10 years, to say, at your level you're doing right now, right? For the next 10 years, you have, and you do, and you build, you have made $1 million institution. If you continue to do just what you're doing right now, then you bring your sources, you do some small investments and some major investments within 10 years or less. And I say or less because it probably will be or less as you're going to get momentum. You've already made $1 million institution among yourselves online together. Now, what does that look like now? What you can do. This is just us doing what we do, just kicking it every week, talking, coming together, supporting the effort. They say, what's your 10-year plan? In 10 years, with this, that's where you'll be if you keep working like that. And let me tell you something about success. We used to say this in Dunya. Successful people attract successful people. And in other words, we used to say, money make money. Money makes money. And in the business world, they say you will never outwork money. Wow. They say you will never outwork money. When we were kids, right? I told you I grew up in the Ansar community, Ansar law community. So when we finally left that, it was a group of young brothers, all from my project. So we young guys right out of the community, back in the projects. And we was in New York. So we got all these bright criminal ideas that we gonna do. And we was poor. Sometimes I didn't realize how poor we was. We learned to make poor look nice. I don't know how, growing up in the projects, we was poor. Now that I look back, but we made poor look good, damn good. We made poor look good. So we nailed this rim up on the side of a little tent where they used to have like recreation in the summer times, like some benches, and they put a little canopy over top of it, a wooden, and we banged a court on there, and that's how we used to play basketball, right? But we used to sit out there, and we out there, and we would shoot. We would play horse, $100 a shot. I don't know if y'all know horse, like foul shot. So we're still on the foul line. We made a foul line, and one shoot and the other shoot. So if you shoot, you make it. I shoot, you make it. We continue. If I shoot, make it, you miss, you pay me $100. And we would just stay outside and do that for hours, right? And in those games, you see people lose 15, 30,000, right? Right on the playground, right? And I had a friend, this guy lose 15 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand, go run back, go do some stuff, come back, lose another 5 grand. And I remember my brother said to me, he said, he's never gonna win. I said, yeah. He said, because he don't got enough money. And I got long money. He can't hang out. Eventually, he's going to lose. I never forgot that lesson. That's the same brother that was on the roof. He said, I got long money. He's not going to be able to hang out. Right? And he used to say that about crap games, about everything. We got long money. You ain't going to beat the house. Right? So I'm saying that to say what we need to learn to do is to strengthen as a group our financial portfolio. And when you do that, you're going to see doors open to you that didn't open when you weren't in financial position. As Imam Naeem mentioned, rich people don't walk around with broke friends. Successful people are not dealing with people who ain't doing nothing. But when you start doing something, successful people, wealthy people will notice you and they want to partner with you. And then all of a sudden your growth will get even greater. I'm just telling you that's how it works. It's something that is the custom of Allah in His creation. It's like that. So I want us to continue to support these platforms. Not just with your money, but with your skills too. Right? Everything, because your time and your energy, your skill set is money. If put in the right place with the right combination, it will produce wealth. It will produce what we need to build. Right? So I just wanted to mention that because I think we got to actually think about tomorrow. Right? And I have a lofty goal, and I talked to the other imams about it. I want to do what we've done at Masjid Muhammad in terms of the religious knowledge. I want to do it all around the country. Right? My community wasn't always Ahl Sunnah. We had some deviant beliefs floating around, and we were not all in the knowledge. But we were able to diligently every day work on raising the bar in our Islamic knowledge. And we're still doing that, right? To where they used to say about Masjid Muhammad, seriously, in our area and in Philadelphia, people who know from back in the day, that ain't nothing happening there. And they were always the little, you know, the satellite for Philadelphia. Not no more, right? We became a point of reference in the entire area for Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. It's well known, right? For Ahl Sunnah, Al Asha'ira wal Maturidiyah, and the Hanafis and Shafi and Maliki and Hanbali, Tasawwuf, Masjid Muhammad is at the forefront when you talk about that knowledge in the whole area. Whenever you start talking about Sunni Muslims and traditional knowledge and scholars and sheikhs, Masjid Muhammad is at the forefront. At the forefront, right? No doubt. And just the fact of what we are doing on all of our platforms that reach all of you around the country lets you know when you start working what you can do. I want to see that in every community we can reach. Because I have this thing in my mind is that if we educate a few people in every area, and I'm talking about educate them, where they can teach books, right? They can teach books. They can teach books in Aqidah, books in fiqh, books in Tasawwuf, books in Hadith, books in Tafsir, right? Books in Sirah. This is work I'm talking about, where I can give them what my teachers gave me, right? And that's a lot. And it's in every state, at least one city, there is, starting out in every state, there is a few brothers and sisters who are qualified to teach our people, right? And they actually learned, not, just no, someone reviewed, someone checked you, someone made sure you understood the proper expressions, and we took the time to do that, right? Because we have a lot of do-it-yourself stuff, a lot in our communities. That's the nature of it. A lot of brothers do it. They're not trained. They never learn. They're going to have some things right, some things the way over the place, because no one sat down and said, listen, hold up. Here's a structured curriculum. We're going to finish this. We're going to complete this. I'm going to authorize you in this. You're going to learn that. That's what I'm talking about. But that's great. But that's going to take a lot of money to do that. Just the travel expenses to do that. Then the materials needed to do that. Then finding spaces. That's all costs money. Because some of those people don't have no money and they can't do it themselves. So we have to do it, right? But imagine we spent 3 straight years doing that, right? Imagine what we establish. I'm going to give you an example so you can sew it. I'm going to put it up maybe next, if I can do tomorrow. There is an institution in Allentown, Pennsylvania. It's called Al Maqasid, right? Let me see something. And I want you just to look at this when you get a chance, right? Because I'm speaking about, I'm not speaking outside of my neck, something I know. This is organization, Al Maqasid. It's in Allentown, Pennsylvania. It's ran by a close friend of mine, Sheikh Yahya Rhodes. He's a white American who studied overseas in Syria, Mauritania, Yemen. Right? He's a good friend of mine. And if you look at Al Maqasid now, and if you go there, you'll see their campus and their things they're trying to do. I was there when he started that. It was already developing, but it was a bunch of problems. I was there with him. We were like shadows, right? Right. Go back to the beginning of that video. Oh, that's the thing. Is that a video? Yeah. That's Sheikh Yahya, right? I'm mentioning something about this because I was there when none of that existed, right? None of it. And I remember me and him was sitting in, it was what? We was in one small building. It was a tall building, rental space down the street from there. And I remember talking to him, and I said to him one day, I said, yo, Sheikh Yahya, concentrate on teaching. That's it. If you educate the people, no one will be able to do what you're doing if you just work on educating the people. Forget all the politics. Work on educating the people. You can take it down. Work on educating the people, right? And we went, I would say, almost on a year to 2-year journey of just doing that. I was right with him, right hand. We traveled almost every week. We were somewhere else for about a year. We was going around the country, going around the state, teaching, reaching, doing dawah. And now I go there, I don't know how many years it's been now. Time flies. I know it hasn't been more than 6 or 7 years, maybe 8 years. Time does fly, right? But it hasn't been 8 years, I don't think. Maybe 5 or 6 years, right? And when I see what they've done, and I know how all of it happened, I knew where they came from, and I was there, right? It is exactly what I'm telling you right now. The same path, right? And that $1 million institution that I was talking about, they did it. More than $1 million. Property, seminary, programs, retreats. I was there when it was nothing. So now somebody will come and they be like, man, look what they got. Nah, I watched him. And my family will tell you, it was sometimes we didn't come home. We was on the road, me and Sheikh Yahya, all the time, all over the place. And there were those on the ground working while we weren't there. It was work. That didn't happen overnight with no work. A lot of sacrifice, right? Right? And But what happened? They have some successful people with them who sacrifice, who do what needs to be done so the institution thrives. They have people that's, listen, I'm talking about literally, to say, yo, here's 100 grand. Get it back to me whenever you can. There are people like that there. Here's 30, here's 50. No interest. Here, just do what you gotta do. Whenever y'all get it together, hit me back. They got people like that. They weren't always there, not all the time, but when they start working and building and do what you say, it comes. And right, Imam, yeah, Imam Naeem, forget that. I never got my cut. Now I'm joking. We came to, Imam Naeem was trying to do stuff with his garden and with all that. And we came to Pittsburgh and went and helped them raise money. And what y'all got, about 15 grand in one day? Something like that? Or a little bit more. What was it? It was around there, wasn't it? That wasn't much of your objective? Somewhere around there? In one day. Right? Supporting. And they got something done. They got done what they wanted to do. One day. So when we work together, right? And listen, these are still my friends. Even though I'm doing my work over here, we're buddies. He comes to visit me, I go visit him. It's just, we all busy, but we tight, real tight, right? And I'm still work with them whenever I can. I can't do what I used to do because I'm busy, but he's always supporting me. I'm always supporting him. So we are able to get a lot of stuff done, right? Right? And I'm just saying, we got to start aiming high. We could do it. Right? So, and believe me, there are people who want to see us succeed. And that's how we're going to make a strong ummah. Yeah, we do what we got to do for everybody, help on their individual level in their community, among their people. Then we bring all that together as an ummah of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we roll. Right? Because we Muslim. But we ain't going to leave nobody behind, neglected. That ain't going to work. Nah, everybody got to help everybody. But everybody also got to do their own part. Each community got to build. And then we bring it all together for the ummah, right? So that's my Black Roundtable reflection. The other one, last one. And Imam Naeem really said it last night. We got to know what we're trying to do, and we can't waste time with people who are not trying to do what we're trying to do. Call them dream killers. There are some people that see you successful, and they're going to work even from within to destroy that. Never allow that to happen, right? Never allow that to happen. Each of you, one of you, gotta have to understand, and maybe we need to be more clear about what we're doing. Maybe it's not clear for everyone what we're doing. I think some things are clear, but maybe we need to be more clear and more precise. But not everybody who say I'm with you is truly with you. And we got to realize that. And we got to kind of circle the wagons so they don't infiltrate us. Because we're actually trying to build something. And if you keep bringing in people who want to destroy, you're making your job harder. So keep that in mind, right? That learn what we're doing and learn to have some loyalty, right? Learn to be loyal. That's one of the most important elements to success, learning to be loyal, dedicated, have a level of integrity, principles. These are very important things that you must have, right? It's extremely important. If we're going to build, and we're building, I'm telling you, you might not even notice it. We're building, we're moving, right? And I'm telling you about us, we don't quit. I plan on stopping when I'm dead. So if you're going to run with me, this is going to be a long marathon because I'm not quitting. Inshallah ta'ala. I'm going to keep going, new heights, train the next generation. We were in the masjid yesterday. And so they used to seeing me being lead. I said, nah, that's Sheikh Abdul Aziz's job. We sent him over to study. He completed his studies. He's graduate from Al-Azhar University. He got ijazas. He studied books. Yo, man, you got to go do that. He's 25 years old. If he is able to flourish in teaching and instruction and leadership, just in the religious aspect, and he reaches my age, that's 25 years, 26 years of dedicated groundwork. We need to see that. How many people should he train in 26 years? If we do our part, bring our children, bring our people, connect online. 26 years? We should build our own institution in 26 years. $26 years. We could do a lot. But if you got a bunch of people constantly poking holes in your tires, you're gonna run out of air. So you got to protect your brand. You got to protect your goal and your mission, right? And we got some brothers that's overseas. There's a young brother, put him on the spot, Muawiyah. He just went over, and he's doing good. And I'm hoping to see big things from him for the Malikis in 5 or 6 years, right? And like I said, and we should support those efforts so you complete your studies. You graduate with honors. You develop. And he'll be only 25, 26 when he come back. Inshallah. Here's another one. And then another one. And then another one. Then another one. And before you know it, in 10 years, you got a whole new generation of educated leaders that are far more educated than we were when we started. And then we've built from our work businesses that sustain institutions, Now it's not just donations. We always going to donate, but now we have business infrastructure that sustains the institutions that we have built. Then we step at another level, and this is very important level to me. Essential. We start a college scholarship fund, not Islamic college, regular secular universities and trade schools. And we, through our nonprofits, and we are nonprofits, we're 501c3s, religious institutions, we have scholarships for excellent youth so that they can be trained in worldly careers and professions, entrepreneurship, and we fund that. So while they're filling out for their grants and they're filling out for their scholarships, we actually have scholarships that we're doing. Long as you got this point, this amount of grade, point average, you're growing, we're going to give you this amount of money every year. And then we establish that we bring them in and they come in and they get real life training before they finish school. We start connecting, right? Because if you're going to sustain, especially from the charitable contributions, you need people that earn good money, right? Because I teach in a lot of immigrant communities. I do a lot of that, right? And I've seen generations now where I remember your grandfather was in charge, and then your father in charge, and now you in charge. I remember you was a little kid running around the masjid. Now you're one of the biggest donors of the masjid. You're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're an engineer. You're a businessman. I remember y'all was kids, right? So we can do it. So the question, shouldn't we have this already? Why we are talking about the future? That's a good question. I'll tell you an answer to that. Because we haven't committed to the cause. So we may be doing it in part, but on the scale I'm talking about, no, because we're not committed ourselves yet. Enough of us are not committed to do the work that's necessary to do that. You know, so that's the reason. And I can know that by evidence. Because a lot of us want to do the work. Getting the support to do that work's another story, right? Let me tell you, I would teach all day long. Anyone who knows me knows that about me. And I can teach, and I can teach different sciences. I would do it all day long if the other matters were taken care of. And all I had to do was concentrate on that. Man, we'll learn so much. I'll be pushing book after book after book. I can't. I don't got that kind of support. I have to go and get the bag, as they say. I got to do it. I got to teach, and I got to go get that bag, right? I don't have the luxury to do and just sit around and teach classes and educate. But that is something that needs to be done. Somebody got to be just dedicated to educating people, training people, right? But that takes sustained support, right? That takes someone to see, no, that's your job. That's your job. That's your job. And bringing that whole together so that we all do that, right? It can't just be rap. You got to actually do it. You follow me? So, but we are taking steps, right? We are taking steps, and we're doing it, but it's step by step. But if we want to expedite the process, we have to be more committed. Right? And we have to have the desire And this may sound kind of difficult for a lot of us, but it's Quranic. We love Quran and Sunnah, but we hate those words. We have to learn to hear and obey. Submit now wa ata'na. That's in the Quran. Most of us don't like to follow. And we don't know how to lead. Too many of us are like that. I don't want to follow and I don't know how to lead. That's a problem. So I hold things back because I don't have to be a leader. All I got to do is be a good follower, right? If I be a good follower, I can do my part, right? Wa alaikum salam. And I honestly believe that that's a big part of our struggle as a community. Everybody's not in their proper role. As Imam Sulaiman said, we have to know our capacity. Some things you just can't do. And you got to know that. But the things you can do, you got to know that and you have to do them. So that's my thoughts about the Black Imams Roundtable. And I tell you, we greatly appreciate all of your efforts and your commitments. Now, one last commitment, since we're talking about it. Registration for the summit is very low. I don't know if it's COVID. I haven't seen these things that bad. It might be the time. I don't know what's going on. But if we don't have an adequate number of people that have committed to attend, we're going to have to do this a different way. So that's why I put January the 15th. And just in case, I know us, we have this last minute stuff. This is our nature. But that doesn't work for what we're trying to do. So if we don't have at least 100 people registered by the 15th, we're going to cancel. We have to, because we have 3 stories and we can't take that facility and all that space from others who may be able to do something, and we can do something smaller if necessary. So we won't be doing this big, large event if we don't have the registrations. So those who registered already, if we don't do that by the 15th, we will be sending you your money back. And I'll announce it, but I said to the 15th, and we'll wait to the 15th. But what we cannot do is we got people traveling. We don't want to put people in a bunch of burden, right? So inshallah, we'll see. We'll do something, but it just won't be at that scale, right? So we'll still do something, but it won't be at this scale. But if we do, inshallah, we'll do it. But I'm just making you notice, it ain't looking bright. But I can't force arms and hands and feet and swipes and computers. That's out of my realm. We do the best we can, and mashallah who can. So please, if you really want to attend, register so we can get a serious count, and inshallah continue to move forward, because I don't want to burden anyone and inconvenience anyone. And people have already committed. All the speakers, they've committed. Now we got to do our part and commit. right? Uh, oh, no, 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 no. We're going to do something on that date. Don't worry. And it will be, even if it's not at the scale that I have in mind and we had in mind, we're still going, our masjid can hold 200 people easily with no problem. So, and we're still going to have the program. But I would, the scale I'm talking about, the level that I had in my mind, and we've done it multiple times. But this pandemic, maybe it's just that. It's wintertime, it's pandemic, Allahu Alam, right? Uh, but we're going to do something, so don't worry about that. It will occur, and it will be worth your trip and worth your time. But I'm talking about the scale that we had in mind. We're still going to do it. So when I mean, I'm talking about the scale of the event, right? Okay. So no one will be lost. You will benefit. Trust me. Uh, okay. May Allah protect the Muslim from these viruses. All right, inshallah. Today is, what's today? Wednesday. We're off. Wednesday is relax day. So enjoy yourself, inshallah. We'll see you. Oh, I'm sorry. Man, I'm falling behind. Take these down, please. This is the book that we're going to start reading in about a week and a half, 2 weeks, during this, because for the new Muslim and for those who are studying the curriculum, this is one of the first books we're going to do in the curriculum. We're going to be reviewing this book also in the scattered thoughts, and some lessons that's going to be in this book. This is the first book we're going to cover in that series for new Muslims and those who wanted to learn their deen in a structured manner. It is written by the founder of Mahad al-Islami in Damascus, Syria, which is one of the most famous schools in Damascus, Syria. And he is the sheikh of our sheikhs. So we're going to teach this book first, inshallah. The link for the book. Can you give a direct link for the book besides this one? So they could just press it and go straight to the book. Oh, okay, you put it up there. So this is the first book we're going to do. And I would hope that I'm trying to give you a curriculum by which you can learn, right? And these are all going to be books that anyone who does traditional studies in these main centers around the world, they will learn, right? They will learn, inshallah ta'ala. So please go to the website, look at the book, get your copy, because I think in about a week and a half, because that'll give me time for the books to reach people, I'm going to start teaching in that book, inshallah. All right, barakallahu fikum. May Allah reward you. I thank you for your support. And I don't mean money, just coming and being a part of the family and engaging and encouraging one another and tolerating one another, right? I know I could be rough to tolerate sometimes, but thank you. Inshallah ta'ala, we're going to get it done. We're going to get it done as promising things for our future, inshallah. Yeah, I know I'm a little rough around the edges. I got it. Yeah, you got to tolerate me a little bit. But alhamdulillah, I really got nothing but love for you. I really care. I'm telling you. I really, really care. All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa sallallahu alayhi Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Barakallahu bikum.